Hey, what is up, guys? This is Astronox for another Tap Wizard RPG Arcane Quest. This is gonna be a video about builds, so like spell loadouts. Right now, those are my stats. You can see at the bottom right, I'm in New Game Plus, so I defeated the game. I killed the Doomstone at zone 100.5, and basically I'm just restarting with all my stable runes, all my spell XP and all that. So here's my setup. Alright, so I'm using frozen orbs because it's on the augmentations on the left, you can see it deflects projectiles. So the orbs that are spinning around me have a chance to deflect projectiles, and they also negate enemy auras and shields upon impact. So this is pretty nice. I'm clearly not using that for damage. As you can see, it has 5% damage contribution. Voltaic Orb on the second, as my second spell, is doing pretty much all the damage, and it's getting boosted. I mean, its cooldown is getting reduced by Spark as the third. So Voltaic Orb has all the augmentations, bypass primary target's armor, and 50% chance to bypass enemy armors. That's for the arcs. Cooldown 1.1 second. I'm playing around with my TM lags ER. It's usually 10. I reduced it to 9. It's actually 8 now, but I increased it back to 9. I want to bring this up to, bring that down to 1 second. So let me go in the raid. Bring that down to a second. So the build, basically, it's mitigation with Ice Wall. You need 9 walls to have 50% damage reduction. So the first one is 10% and the next ones are 5%. So you need 9 for 50% damage reduction. That's connected with Spark as well, meaning I have 9 walls up or more. I mean, it must cap at 9, so yeah, there's no issue there. You can just see how quick it goes. There's like it creates 9 in like probably not even 3 seconds. Also on the 5th spell, my assistant, imitating Ivan, he has half the cast speed on Spark. So he's casting Spark, and his Spark is independent of my Spark, meaning that he is actually reducing the Frost Wall cooldown separately from mine, because it's limited to 3 times per... you can see here, it can trigger 3 times per second. But like, it can trigger 3 times per second for me, and he is actually reducing my Frost Wall. So it might be like 4 or 5 times per second, because he's half my he has half my cooldown, so it's 0.82 second for him. But anyways, he's actually helping for all that. So the setup would be to have as much damage mitigation and this here deflect as possible, so you can survive no problem. Like you can see, I don't have any issue surviving. I can sometime just build up as much power as I currently have in one run. It's insane. But you need the healing. You need the healing from the left tower. Making sure you have good damage mitigation. Just like increase your survival by so much. So basically, I'm taking half the damage because of Frost Wall, and then when I'm fighting monsters that are attacking me from range, I have 50% chance to deflect. Well, if I have the orbs up around me, but with my cast speed, it's not an issue, because you can see this has 0.11 second cast. It says that the orb launch at random targets when the spell equipped to the right of Frozen Orb cast. So to the right of Frozen Orb I have Voltaic Orb and it's 1.1 second cooldown. The thing is it's being cast way faster than that because of Spark, but still it seems to be like running perfectly fine. All these guys, they're shooting range. All these the skeleton archers. Well, this part, this zone I'm currently in New Game Plus. New Game Plus introduced new monsters. Usually you only have the summoners with some, I don't know, these guys here that tank, the stone skin trolls, I think. But okay, so this build, there's different variations depending on which tower you're going for. So you need to have Ice Wall, that's for sure. Then Frozen Orb you can take out. You can put Amber instead if you're not fighting ranged monsters. Amber is amazing against monsters that regain health because it just, you can see on the 5th augmentation, it prevent targets from gaining health. So they cannot heal themselves and I don't think they can even regenerate health. So Amber is like amazing. You could also do something like you put Frostwall on the 5th, so you have the Imitating Ivan helping you with half your cast speed on it. You put Amber like this, then here you put Frozen Orb. That's one way to do it. The problem is that your Frostwall is only gonna have like, mine probably has 25% damage reduction, so that's like half its effectiveness, which is not that great. But yeah, if you can have all the good utilities running at the same time though. But another way to do it would be just drop Spark on your offensive spell. You don't even need to have Voltaic Orb here, you can play around with your spells. So you would do something like this. Bring Spark back up. You would do something like this. You would put the spell that you want to get the most XP on the left, on the first slot, obviously. The problem with Amber is that Amber is only really good when you get that 5th augmentation, so it's almost like you don't want to rank it up. It's kind of a pain when you need it, and its augmentations are like, you only have the 2nd augmentation, you need to level it 3 times. So that's kind of a pain, but the passives are pretty good. So yeah, the damage is not going to be that great if you do it this way. I mean, you could have here, you just put Inferno there. You already have your Ice Wall running, Ice Walls. So that could be a build. That could be a build there. Let's let her run there. So you have maximum damage mitigation from Ice Wall. You have the Frozen Orbs. Now Frozen Orb here, the way it works is that if the spell on the right is fire, it gets +3 ice shards. If it's ice, 60% more orb damage. Or if it's lightning, it bypasses the enemy's armor. So right now it's ice, so it's 60% more orb damage. But I mean, Frozen Orb doesn't really do much damage. Now against these monsters, Inferno is kind of terrible because you can't even reach them. So yeah, I mean, I prefer Voltaic Orb. I prefer a ranged skill. Now the thing is, for the towers, I went with the left tower. I mean, the healing is amazing on the left tower, but I feel like just getting the heal there and then working on your tower right is a better thing to do. Now that would be for New Game Plus, because this is Aegis seconds, 10 second of immortality after you basically die, so you can keep going for 10 seconds. This is on your third spell. It's gonna reduce the cast speed by 50%. I mean, it's gonna increase the cast speed by 50%. This will make it so you cast like 10 spells a second for 10 seconds while you are while your Aegis is running. And the fourth one is on the fourth spell. It will make it so the fourth spell does 50% more damage. I did like it way more that way because I was able to put Spark on the 5th slot and then Voltaic Orb on the 4th slot, and then Imitating Ivan would be casting Spark, and he would be reducing my Voltaic Orb cooldown by quite a bit. So like I can show you what it looks like. Okay, so I'm gonna reset the damage by switching Loadout and coming back on it. So look at this. It might take more than one run to prove my point, but now, right now on the second spell, it has 50% more damage. That's the buff it has. The fourth spell doesn't have any buff on it. They're both boosted by Spark. And I said previously that I thought that Spark were sharing the 3 cast per second limit, but no, they each have their own 3 cast per second limit. But what happens is that because Imitating Ivan, well, it's not Imitating Ivan, I changed the skin. It's the girl on the right side in like the purple pink clothes. She's casting Spark. You can see it go off of her, and it makes it so the Voltaic Orb is getting reduced by my Spark, the cooldown, and by her Spark. So you see 52% damage contribution on the Voltaic Orb that is on at the second position, and 43% damage contribution on the Voltaic Orb on the 4th position. So the damage difference is not much, but you can clearly see that Imitating Ivan, his Spark is actually helping quite a bit because well, yeah, just because he's using a different timer. I'm not limited to 3 times per second total. It becomes like the limit is now 3 times per second for my Spark and 3 times per second for his Spark. Anyways, that's a pretty cool thing I noticed. So going for tower, what's called tower right to up to the 4th one, and then doing the setup with the Spark on the 5th spell is really good for damage. It's like the highest damage you can actually get. It's way more damage than if you go getting Bravery and then setting up a Spark there. It's just gonna do more damage if you use the tower right instead. But I was just testing with the tower left. Just to see, well, just to show you guys basically. So the next one, the third one, is Bulwark, and I mean, it's gonna heal me up to 200% of the normal maximum. It doesn't really matter. Because I already have the damage mitigation of the ice wall, and it's not gonna do much for me really. But it was just for testing purposes. Anyways, I could just stay there and just farm these guys, but yeah, I guess I'm dragging this video a bit too long. Okay, so basically just put whatever spell you prefer instead of my Voltaic Orb on the second position, unless if you don't have bravery and you're on the tower right, just do your setup. So your main skill, if you only have this second one here, I don't remember its name, but you have 50% cast speed on the third spell loadout, just put your main nuke there. Or if you're up to there, just put your nuke on the fourth position. Just have spark on the right of it, and yeah, just move ice wall around with its spark. I was also thinking of increasing my TM lag some more to have ice wall just by itself just go crazy. So you could do it. You could actually, if you go for the tower right, the second thing here, so you reduce your cast speed, you have 50% faster cast speed, meaning that it's not gonna show, though it doesn't show on the tooltip. So let's say at TM lags ER 10, the cooldown is like 1.5. It depends on how high your ice cast speed is and how high your ice wall cast speed is. But let's say it's 1.5, it becomes 0.75. So you need 9 up. So you do 0.75 times 9, and I mean I don't have a calculator right now with me, but it would be not fast enough, actually. Yeah, it wouldn't even be fast enough. It would be like 6.5 cast. One second. I got a calculator here. So just do, so we get 4.5 second. Yeah, that wouldn't work. You can only get 6 up. So you would need, you need 0.5. Yeah, you just need 0.5, and you can have 9 cast. So you would need a TM lags ER of like 15 with this thing here on the tower right, and then you would be able to have 9 cast every 4.5 seconds, and you don't even need spark connected to it. So it would be something like this, like this. Yep, that would be the best setup, because this ignores the enemy's armor, and you don't really care. Like this, actually, you're gonna have more orbs up for protecting you with the deflecting, and then this doesn't really matter how fast it's attacking, really. Well, I mean, while attacked amber, yeah, I mean, you need to land some amber on the enemy so to prevent them from gaining health. So you don't want the like super slow cast speed, and then you can just switch your voltaic orb with whatever spell you want. Like if I use this, it's just the toxic gases. I feel like they should be doing more damage, and I still don't know if it's if you see it on the damage contribution of the spell. Just you're limited to melee range attacks, so I don't know if that's optimal, because when you run Inferno and Voltaic Orb side by side, it doesn't do enough. Another thing I prefer tower right is because your spells start focusing in melee range instead of the back line, and it's way better because you can combo it with Inferno. You can just run both at the same time too. You know, you can just do something like this too. So if you had, let's say, actually if you had the super fast cast speed, you could just leave Inferno alone without Spark, and you could run something like this. I think Inferno has the same amount of, has the limit of like 9 up at the same time. So you would run something like this if I reset the damage contribution. I've been talking about fake damage on spells that hit multiple monsters but they regenerate their health back up. It is true, it's just if you start running Amber, well, they can't regenerate their health anymore, and it's not fake damage anymore. Unless that's not a problem with the tower left. You're attacking the back line, but if your Amber cannot reach the backline squads, well, that's not really working too well. So the healing on the tower left is amazing, but you should work on the tower right afterward. That's my thinking. And you should definitely toy around with different spell combos. But I just wanted to give you guys like my breakdown for the spells I've been using and what works best for me, what has been working best for me. I mean, when you encounter these guys that keep summoning themselves back up, and you can just farm there forever, but it's actually better to just reset at a certain point. Now I had like 5 times more than my initial power, and I can push through them and farm at a faster pace. You don't want to stay there forever. So yeah, I'll revert back to my setup. There's just no perfect build for every situation in this game. That's good. I like that. You can just leave it running like something like this, but when you encounter monsters that have range attacks, you come in and you put Frozen Orb, or you can put it on your second loadout, and you just swap your loadouts by swiping right, left, and right. So you do it like a quick swap for different situations. So I think that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I know there has to be better, better setups. This spell is amazing. It is amazing. Inferno is really amazing too. You can use them separately, you can use them together, but I prefer to focus on one specific damage dealing spell, like my main nuke, and the other spells would be utilities. It feels much it feels much better, especially with the healing. You're just making your sustain go through the roof, because let's say you're fighting range attackers, you're basically taking well, it's a chance, but you get that 50% damage reduction guaranteed from Ice Wall, and then you get 50% chance to avoid their projectile. You see these guys shooting bones at me? I would get destroyed if I didn't have Ice Wall and Frozen Orbs going. Even the cast speed on Frozen Orb might not even be fast enough for me to deflect. Is it deflect? Yeah, it's deflect their attacks. But it's like you taking 100 damage. It's almost like you're taking 25 instead. And when you have some healing coming in at the same time, it's almost like you're healing yourself four times more than initially. So you can survive and you can keep on fighting and you can push further, and the further you push, the more power you start gaining, and that's how you push faster in this game. You get more power per run, like a bigger percent of power per run, and it makes a massive difference on how long it takes for you to do your enchants and all that. So anyways guys, thanks for watching. I'm Astronox, and if you like this video, hit the like button, leave me a comment, what kind of spells you're running, what kind of build you're running, share it with the community. And I mean, you have to change your setups depending on the situation. That's really the best you can do in this game if you want to min-max as much as possible. Anyways, subscribe for more if you want. Hit the bell icon if you want to be alerted when I release new videos. So thanks again for watching. I'm Astronox, and I'm out for now. Peace.